tuning in to Nizzy's Sports Chat. I am your host, Nizzy, and in this video, you guys, we're going to be unpacking a little bit of news that I just found out today that the Raptors are potential trade candidates for the Ben Simmons trade here with the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, with that atrocious performance in the playoffs there for the Sixers, Ben Simmons is now on the trade block. They just announced, the Sixers did, that they will be taking offers for him starting today. So I'm sure that Toronto's been looking into it. I know there's a few other teams that have been looking into him as well. But we're going to pack this one for the Raptors here, you guys. And the big question we're going to ask today is, should the Raptors trade for Ben Simmons? Personally, there's positives and negatives to this situation if we were to go and trade for the guy. Obviously, Kyle Lowry is a Philadelphia native. So if we were to trade for him, there would be the possibility of doing a sign and trade with Kyle, sending him over to Philly. And in return, we get Ben Simmons. A couple things that would be deal breakers for me in this situation is I would not trade Ben Simmons if they're looking for the 4th overall pick from us. I think we got to keep that hands down unless we can get maybe a little better of a talent for that 4th pick. I don't think Ben Simmons is the guy you want to take in exchange for that 4th pick. I think we're going to get somebody who's going to be a much more capable shooter with that 4th pick comparatively to Ben. I would love to have him just for the defensive side of the ball, as well as I don't think we'd need Ben Simmons to be our main point guard. Obviously, we got Fred VanVleet and Malachi Flynn coming off the bench. I think Malachi is going to be much improved in his second season, especially with his shot-making ability. He was bricking up a lot of threes at the end there, but that's kind of expected as a rookie. I think he's got a lot of potential to be a good leader on this team, a good leader of that bench unit coming in forward here. Obviously, with losing Jalen Harris to the substance abuse, the substance abuse. So he's out for a season. He's banned from the NBA. He will not be available, unfortunately, for the Raptors, so we're going to have an extra slot to fill there. We got a couple guys on contract here that are probably going to be let go, which should save us some money as well. I would be shocked if we bring Aaron Baines back. Rodney Hood, I think, is on the books for $10 million as well. I'd be shocked if he comes back. We should be able to save a little bit of money there. So the big question here, you guys, is it affordable to have Ben Simmons on the team? And do you guys think it's going to be a fit? Now, personally, the affordability is the biggest issue here. As of right now, the Raptors are at about an $86 million hit for the cap next year. The salary cap's looking to be around $112 million. I think you got to get to around $136 million to get over that luxury tax threshold where you start paying the big bucks for going over the luxury tax. So the Raptors got a little bit of wiggle room with that, but obviously Ben Simmons got a massive contract. He's getting $35 million a year. Still got 4 years left on his deal. Obviously, Pascal's big-time contract kicks in here, so he's got, I think, $30 million on the books this year. I think Fred's got around 19. So if we were to bring in Ben, we'd be right over that cap limit. Basically, would put us around $116 million for the season with Ben, and that would be without signing any drafted rookies or anything like that. That wouldn't be bringing in a center. That wouldn't be signing Kem Birch or bringing in any other center. So that would put us a little bit cap-strapped, which is the only concern with that. And especially because he's not a big-time shooter. He's not going to be like your number one scoring guard or anything like that. It's kind of tough to have the salary cap so strapped if you choose to do that. Obviously, we want to try and sign Gary Trent Jr. this offseason as well. And that'll be a little bit tougher to do if you do bring Ben Simmons over, just because we don't have a shit ton of salary cap room if you were to bring him over. So we'll have to see what the Raptors decide to do. Another deal breaker for me is if they would want like Pascal Siakam in exchange. Wouldn't do it in my opinion. I think Pascal Siakam's the better player. Ben Simmons probably a better defensive player, but he just doesn't have that shot-making ability or the finishing ability as well as Pascal. Plus Pascal's a pretty good free throw shooter as well. I know he's been ragged on a little bit the last year in his clutch time moments. He was pretty clutch coming down the stretch in the last 5 minutes of the games. The biggest thing with him is he's missing those last second shots, the buzzer beaters to win the games for us. I think he was 0 of 5 or 0 of 6 last year for us. In those clutch situations with the buzzer beaters at the end of the game, didn't make any of them. So we kind of were hoping to get that number one scoring option just to alleviate some pressure off of Pascal. It's possible that the number 4th pick overall for us this year could be that guy. Maybe Jalen Suggs gets it, or Jalen Green, depending on who we get. It'd be a dream if Evan Mobley fall to us. Then our center issues would be covered. Obviously, there's an opportunity to bring Kem Birch back into the fold. We'll have to see what happens with that. But nonetheless, you guys, I'm not sure if it's a great idea to bring Ben Simmons along on the squad. Like I said, I think he'd be a definite upgrade to our defense, which would be huge. Wouldn't be upset about that at all. He can guard the 1 through 5 positions. And I don't think we'd run him as a point guard, to be honest with you. I think we'd be able to run him down in the paint a lot. I think we could put him in that power forward or center position for us, just because he is a 6'10" guard. He's a pretty big guy, so he'd be able to handle that position down in the paint there. Plus, I think he'd just be a better scorer down in the post. He didn't really get an opportunity to do that too much just because of Joel Embiid with the Sixers. He doesn't get a lot of chances down in the post. That's pretty much Joel Embiid's game down there. He's the big man where they feed in the post. We don't really have a great post player right now. Pascal's not too bad, but we really don't have a guy who's great in the post right now on the Raptors. Ben Simmons might be able to bring a little bit of that to the fold here if we were able to pick him up. Like I said, he's not a great shooter, but we could have him inside the paint because he doesn't have a guy like Joel Embiid who's taking all those paint touches. And we need a pure scorer inside the paint like that. Ben Simmons has normally been pretty good finishing around the rack. Normally he's not too bad with his lay-ins and his dunks and things like that. Obviously, when you're passing up wide open dunks like he did in the playoffs there, that's unacceptable. But the Raptors got a good core base around him. We got a good front office. We got a good organization that really is good at developing players. So maybe getting a fresh start with the Raptors would help to develop his shooting skills a little bit better, maybe give him a little more confidence going to that line. And maybe he'd just be able to revitalize his career in Toronto, where the pressure's not as high either, not being with a main market team. Obviously, it's a big-time main market for us here in Canada, but in the U.S., we're laughed upon, which is just a joke because we're easily one of the best franchises in the NBA, in my opinion. Been a staple in the league for quite a few years now, made the playoffs quite a few years, obviously missed it last season, but I think Toronto Raptors are one of the better organizations in the league. I think Ben Simmons would probably be able to revitalize his career pretty well with us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. You think it'd be a good idea for us to go ahead and acquire Ben Simmons? Personally, for me, you guys, the only way I would do this is a sign and trade for Kyle, because he's probably going to be moving on regardless if he signs and trades with us. I think he's going to move on in free agency this summer. So at least you're getting something in return for the guy if you do a sign and trade for Ben Simmons. You're getting an elite defender. So we'll have to see what happens, you guys. I mean, I definitely wouldn't give up the whole team for him. I wouldn't give up Pascal. I wouldn't give up that 4th overall pick. Like I said, I think the only way I would acquire Ben Simmons if I was the Toronto Raptors is a sign and trade with Kyle Lowry. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. You think it's worth getting Ben Simmons, or do you think this is something that we should avoid at all costs? Be curious to get your guys' opinion. Once again, you guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sportscast.